on here to share with you my top 10 digital teaching tips. And so a lot of you are starting out the year teaching digitally. I'm not, I will be in the classroom to start, but I could be going digital at any time. So these are the top 10 things that I learned from last year when I was teaching digital. So my first tip is to make a how-to handbook for your parents. You can do this now, you could do it in your first few PD days, but I think that this is essential. So when I start school, I make a handbook every single year. I usually just give it to the parents digitally, and so if there's ever any questions, I'll be like, oh, go check the handbook, and every single newsletter I put, remember, everything's in this handbook with the link. So you should do the same thing digitally. You can have a slide that's like how to use Google Classroom, how to use whatever system that you use, where will we show up on live, how to get in on the live, what do I expect from your students when we're live, what should your students expect from me, what type of communication will we have, etc., etc. I think that is essential to a really good distance learning classroom. The next few are about actual assignments. So for any type of assignment, I always use a system called Loom, L-O-O-M. It is very similar to Screencastify. So if you use that, it's the same thing. Basically what I do is I take my screen and I can make myself a little talking head at the bottom so the kids can actually see my face, and I will usually do like an anchor chart, a video talk about whatever standard we're learning, and do like a little mini lesson that I would do in my classroom. But my head would be at the bottom and my screen up here. And then I will walk them through exactly how to do that assignment for the week. And making that maybe takes me, I probably make about a 10-minute video, 5 to 10 minutes. And it gets, I don't think, once I started making those Loom videos, my questions went to almost zero. Like I wasn't getting questions. The kids were learning because they were seeing my mouth, they were seeing my face, and they knew what to do on the assignments, and the parents didn't have to help as much, which is always nice. My next tip is to take your PDFs that you already use, the stuff that you've been using for years, and just put them in Google Slides. Kids can do those very easily. So what you do is you just take a screenshot of the worksheet, the PDF, whatever, and then you upload that screenshot as the background of a Google slide, and then you can put the text boxes there. When you upload it as the background, then they can't move it. If you need a tutorial on how to do that, put that in the comments and I will send you that tutorial that I made for your teachers. So that's an easy way to use what you've already been using for years and years and years and not having to buy or recreate the wheel. My next thing is after you go live, so every time you have a live lesson, you should have an action item at the end of your live. So we do the live lesson, even if I'm not maybe teaching, maybe we're just playing a game or something, at the end I always put an action item. So, hey, you just got done with this live lesson, go do this assignment. Hey, you just got done with this live lesson, go answer this question on Google Classroom. Hey, we just learned about theme, go play this theme game online. Hey, I just taught you how to add, go add all the shoes in your house, and then tell me how many shoes you have in your house. Okay, at the end of every single live, you want to give an action item because they just were in school mode with you, and now they need to stay there. Okay, so they need to do something. The best would be to do something hands-on, like I said, go adding the shoes, but they are on their computer, so if you want to have them do something digital, that works too. My next tip number 5 is to use Google Classroom slide decks. So I made slide decks for all the reading skills, and what that means is this is like 6 or 7 slides that they're going to go through to learn a skill and to practice the skill, get assessment on the skill. It's like a lesson that they're going to go through without you. So for my reading skill ones, like the first one, they watch a video that teaches the skill. Then they're going to do an interactive anchor chart. That's like, it's me, I made an anchor chart for them to do the skill, and they have to do a task to practice. Then after that, they're going to watch like a Pixar video and practice the skill. Then they're going to do a close read. Then they're going to go play some online games, do some kind of fun activities with the skill that are online, and then they're going to assess. So that slide deck kind of walks them through an entire lesson, and maybe I taught that skill in my live lesson and now it's like a reteach of the skill. You can do that for every subject. So you teach a math skill, you give them like 5 different tasks on slides that teach them in different modalities like video, game, actual assessment, things like that, to have them really practice those skills. Slide decks are amazing because it can be one complete thing to teach that skill, but they can do it in many different modalities. I will attach my reading skill slide deck so you can kind of see an example below. Tip number 6 is try to give them assignments that do not require the computer. Kids, when they're digital, are going to be on the computers all day long and they need to get off the computers. So some assignments, I always did a weekly STEM challenge that would use the recycled materials in their house. So trash items, things like toilet paper rolls, things that they already have that they don't have to go buy. Um, I would do, for math, I did tons of challenges like go count all the shoes in your house and add them up. Multiply, your mom's shoes by your dad's shoes. Okay, go count all of the pillows you have in your house. Can you get a recipe and, divide that recipe by 2? Find ways that they're not on the computer and bring that into their house. Read an actual book that you have at your house and then do this assignment. Okay? Maybe interview your family members for a writing project. Get them off the computer as often as you possibly can. And tip number 7 is to do daily check-ins. If you use Google Classroom, I love Google Classroom. If you use something else, that's fine too, but do a daily check-in, like every morning. This is the way to kind of build community in a classroom that's online, so it's hard to build community. So it would be like the daily question. So maybe it's like Monday, you could make it creative, like Monday, make it. Tuesday, give a tip, something like that. You can ask them like, what did you do this weekend? And everybody can kind of reply to each other. What is your favorite superhero? They could send pictures of their favorite superhero. This is a way to kind of get them to communicate with each other, communicate with you, and kind of build that classroom community online. I would do it every single day. So every morning they know that there's going to be a question for them to answer that's going to be fun, that's going to be creative, and that's going to let them kind of talk to their friends in a way. Now, set ground rules for this. Before you get started, I'll just leave it at that. Everything needs ground rules, right? Tip number 8 and tip number 9 have to do, and tip number 10 actually, have to do with communication with parents and your time. You are not a 24/7 workhorse. Just because you are in the digital line and they have communication with you online does not mean that you need to be there for them 24/7. It does not mean that. You still have work hours. So before the year even starts, make sure that you schedule a time that you have office hours with your parents. So what I do is I just say, listen, I will communicate with you on email from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. I check my email at 7, I check my email again at lunch, and I check my email at the end of the day. And I will reply to you at those times. After that, I do not check my email anymore until the next morning. I will not check my email on the weekends. This is Monday through Friday. So if you're expecting an answer from me, that's when you're going to get it. You need to be very clear on that up front, because otherwise parents are if you are clear about it up front, I'm telling you, you will get no pushback. But if you're not clear about it up front, that's when you're going to start seeing school dip into all hours of your day. So do that. That's like the number 1 thing. Do it right away. Even if you're in the classroom, do that right away. Number 9 is to schedule a time for yourself that you're going to check assignments, because I know I got caught up at the beginning of I would be checking assignments all the time because I felt like I needed to keep on top of the grading, blah, blah, blah. Not necessary. So every Friday morning, maybe from like 8 to 10 is your assignment checking time. Or give yourself how much time you think you need. Don't give yourself too much time though. When you give yourself too much time, you'll go slow. But if you give yourself, this is my chunk of time, this is the only time I have to grade the assignments online, that will get you in and out quickly, and it will kind of free up your time throughout the week. So schedule that time for that and do not check assignments outside of that time. Now, say maybe you don't get it all done and you need to check it later in that day, but never check it before that time, because that is when you get in that rat horse race. And my last tip is still send weekly newsletters. Even though you're online, you should still be sending a newsletter every week. It can be a digital newsletter that kind of goes through what's your schedule for the week. You could even put like fun activities on there, or maybe kids send you pictures of what they're doing online. You could throw that picture up there. Or you could send a picture of something you're doing at your house with your family to build that connection. But every single week, you should still send a newsletter. So those are my top 10 tips for digital learning. If you have any tips, put them in the comments below, because I bet you that people would love to hear your tips. But wait, I have one more thing. I wanted to share with you some of my favorite websites that I've used for teaching online that you might want to check out and kind of play with over the summer to see if you like them. Number 1, if you've been around here for all, you know I love Epic. It's millions of free books for kids. They're highly engaging. They are colorful, everything. The kids love it. I love it. They get badges. There's quizzes. It's free for teachers. So I don't know why you're not using it if you're not. I've also just came across Dreamscape, which is like it's a reading website, but it's gaming, so the kids will really like that. I've gotten into that. I'm going to use that this year. I also use IXL. Now, I don't pay for it. I use the free version. Kids can do 15 questions a day for free. So I will have like a daily IXL challenge where it's like, go do this standard. You got 15 questions, type how many you get right. Things like that, the daily challenges. I also love Storybook Online because they will have, somebody reading a book, and then I can do an activity with that book that got read to them. They also have lesson plans on there, so you don't even have to plan your lessons. They're all planned for you. And my favorite math website is for sure Prodigy. It's a gaming way for kids to practice their math standards. I also like Extra Math for quick math fact practice, but Prodigy is for sure my favorite. That was a long video, and I know that was a lot of tips. I also know that it's a lot to take in. So if you have any questions, hit the comments. Let me know. I will be responding to you. And if you want to talk farther, you can even hit me up on my email, thefriendlyteach@gmail.com.